So it's pool and picnic season. Your family and friends invite you to come over. They say, hey, we're firing up the grill. We've got brats and burgers and all kinds of cool stuff. And they say, all you need to do is bring in the sides. And you're like, oh boy, I'm either going to the grocery store to buy potato salad or pasta salad because that's what you think you have. But I'm here to tell you there's a lot more waiting for you. Are you ready? All right, so everybody's pool is in full swing right now. The sun is shining, grills are on. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna make a cool side salad or side dish that everybody's gonna go, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, where'd you get it? Well, start at a farmer's market or go to your grocery and look for the fresh local produce. I mean, we've got squash, zucchini. We have these awesome multicolored baby bell peppers. We've got the little cucumbers, the big cucumbers, tomatoes. I mean, just, it's all out there. And there's some bread. That's gonna be the fun one. But here's the cool thing. You've got a buddy. You always have that buddy, that one person. It's like, oh, I'm not doing carbs. Oh, I'm on keto. Hey, that's totally cool. We're gonna help them out today too. We're gonna make a pasta-less pasta salad. So the fun part of this is we're gonna do a lot of ribbons that mimic pasta. You've probably done that with tomato sauce in the past. Somebody says, oh, I'm gluten-free, so just do something vegetable for me. Cool. This will show you how to do that. But it's gonna have a pop of color. It's gonna have a Mediterranean theme. We're even gonna put a little feta cheese on there because feta makes it better. Anyway, okay. So moving on, we're gonna go ahead and start prepping some of our veggies. So when you're cutting the ends off of the veggies, I always do that and then wash them. Don't ask me why, it's just what I do. But make sure you have a really, really sharp knife. Told you this before. Dull knives are how you get cut. Sharp knives are how you just go through things, all right? So what I do is I put all my scraps down here. This way I don't have to fiddle fart back and forth between the garbage can and my work area. Dry all these off here in just a second. And what we're gonna do is actually cut these into planks, and then we're gonna use a potato peeler to do the hard stuff, okay? All right, you don't need to watch me cut the ends off the carrots and wash them. I'm gonna get all the vegetables that are going into this pasta-less pasta salad ready for you, and then swing right back in and show you the skills you're gonna use. So we'll see you right back here. All right, so I've taken the ends off of the cucumbers, the zucchini, the squash. I've taken the ends off the carrots and already peeled them. I know you may want to take a shortcut and go, well, if we're going to use the peeler to kind of do all of this, why on earth would I go ahead and pre-peel them? Because this looks really good in bright orange. The skin, however, is going to turn brown in the salad if you leave it on there, so it must come off. So I'm using these baby sweet bell peppers, and you obviously have the rib and the seed inside, and everybody fights it and tries to do different things. Here's the scoop. Get a little paring knife, start at the top, the narrow part, go down, and then down. So you're basically cutting behind both ribs. Then just with your thumb, push it out, shake off the seeds. Look, I mean, it's instant. You can do it on big bell peppers, you can do it on banana peppers, do it on all kinds of peppers. So we are done with you. All right, so we have some sizes. Obviously not the same. Also not the same. You've got to figure out what size you want everything to be on somebody's fork. If you use these as sort of the top and bottom, this is the smallest and this is the biggest, then we can make everything else work. So we're gonna go ahead and just julienne up the peppers. Do you know what julienne is? I'm sure you do, but just in case, nice thin matchstick types, right? So I'll come back to that in just a second. Then you wanna have a bowl. Put the bowl over here. And you have to make your decision on how much of this green do you want in there and how much white do you want in there? What do you want your carrot to look like? All of this stuff comes into play. So what I'm gonna do is move the bowl. I'm gonna do these in half. And again, it's gonna fall somewhere in between the sizes that I've set forward. Okay, so if I do that, then I come up on the top and I'm gonna cut them into planks. And there's a reason for this, and you'll see it in just a second. Now, I want to take my potato peeler and I start doing ribbons. I'm gonna have some white ones. I'm gonna have some green ones. But that's what they look like. Again, great substitute for pasta. Just go around to the other side. Keep going. Go all the way down to the seed, don't waste it. All right, I'm just gonna put that off to the side here. So the carrot, I don't necessarily need to cut this in advance. I can just hold one end, all right? Same idea, just go all the way around. And then when you're ready, you switch. Obviously, I've got plenty more to do on there. But again, lots of ribbons, right? I'll leave you right here. So then with the cucumber, do I want to do the whole thing in long strips? Do I want to do short strips? You decide, all right? Just start working your way around. Now, if you leave it whole like this, it's easier to manage because you're coming up on the seeds. The other thing is then once you get here and this is flat, then you start kind of going around. And what you'll notice is you have green and white stripes. Super cool, right? You're like, oh, we already have zucchini in there. I don't need any more green. Green and white, you kind of do. So again, same thing applies to the squash. We're just gonna cut it in half, cut it in planks, and then slice it down. I'm gonna get some more of this done because you don't need to watch me with a potato peeler, but if you don't have one that goes this way instead of this way, you're probably gonna catch a knuckle. This is super easy, so invest. Okay, I'm gonna keep peeling and julienning, and then we're gonna show you a little bit more about this. All right, so I'm at about the halfway point on the vegetable. So if you look, tons of color, tons of texture. The crunch here, this is a little bit soft. The carrot's gonna have a little snap to it. The cucumber is probably the wettest of the bunch in here. And you're thinking, yeah, this is really kind of wet. What's gonna happen when we go to dress it? That's why you start in this bowl, get it in, get a bigger bowl, put some paper towel down, come over. Vegetables can really take a lot of salt. We don't wanna be crazy. What we wanna do is get some of this water out. So give it a good sprinkle. I'd say maybe a half a teaspoon. Mix it all around, and then put it down in here. That salt will not only season the vegetables, but it will also pull out a lot of the water while it sits here. It'll go into the paper towel, and then some of the salt will come off as well, so we're always going to adjust seasoning at the end. But that moisture coming out is going to allow the dressing that we put on there to go in. So I'm going to finish these up, do this one more time. We're going to have a big old bowl of bright, beautiful vegetables, and we're going to make that Panzanella salad. All right, so you've got your full bowl of vegetables. Nice, bright, colorful, vibrant. Give it a little squeeze with the paper towel. Try to get as much of that extra water out of there as you can. And look at that. I mean, that thing is soaked. So that's water that's not gonna carry into the salad, making it soggy. We're just gonna put that down here, kind of loosen everything up again. Beautiful. Okay, so there's two elements that you can add. These are optional. If you wanna keep this thing completely vegan, you can do one or not the other, whatever the case may be. So number one is I'm gonna add chickpeas. If you like hummus, I mean, this is the main ingredient. Let's put it to good use. But as a standalone, they're firm, they're delicious, they're really healthy. You just wanna make sure that you rinse off the juice from the can because all it is salt. Or it really isn't, but it tastes like it, if that makes sense. We want the dressing to give us our balance of savory, salty. We don't want the juice from a can to do it. Let's go ahead, add those in, stir again. So again, pastaless pasta salad. We're adding texture, we're adding color, we're adding flavor, because who doesn't love a good garbanzo bean, chickpea, whatever you want to call it today. So I do make my own dressing sometimes. Homemade Easy doesn't always allow for that. If you want a Greek dressing, I'm not going to sit here and grind anchovies and do all these other things like they do for a Caesar or for a Greek or whatever, right? I have one that's store-bought that's lower in calories and it tastes good. It's okay. So start out with about 2 tablespoons and you're just gonna throw your hands in there. Don't overdress the salad. It will get soggy and wilty. You can always bring some extra dressing with you if you'd like, but let people adjust up. It's impossible to adjust down, and there will still be some moisture coming out of your vegetables, so you do not wanna make this something that people will not enjoy. Okay, we're all mixed up. So, if you wanna stay vegan, you're done, right? You could do some croutons or something like that if you really wanted to, but feta does make it better. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead, sprinkle some feta on top. We could transfer this into another bowl to put out on display. We could put this on the dishes individually. You could throw a little bit of rough chopped parsley on top just to add a little bit more color. You can do a little crackle of fresh black pepper on top if you want. But essentially, we have a pastaless pasta salad right here that will knock people's socks off. Well, they're probably wearing sandals because you're by the pool, but you get the idea. Okay, we're gonna button this one up and we're gonna come back and do some more. I'll be right back. So I'm one that hates food waste. Yes, that salad looks great, but the cores, the centers of these vegetables aren't the stuff that you're gonna use. So find another use for them. You can make them into a hash, you can put them in water, boil it down to make a vegetable stock. Some dogs love them. You could even pulse them up, put it in the dog food, or just feed them to them whole. Whatever you do, just try not to waste good vegetables like this. Cool? Cool. Okay, great. So on the stove, I've got a pan warming up. We are going to make a Panzanella salad, which basically means we're putting bread in salad. That's not the literal translation, I'm just telling you. So we've got a Vidalia onion. You can use red onion if you like. You can even use shallots if you like. We've got a half of a cucumber here. This is more like the size of a normal store cucumber, but I love these English cucumbers. I grew up on them. We're going back to those pretty little bell peppers. We've got some nice vine-ripe tomatoes. Got a little bit of basil. And then I've got some capers. We're gonna add that salty pop. These things are phenomenal. I hope you like them. That it will be the salt element for the most part in this. So when we make the dressing and we do all the other stuff, no salt until you've tasted everything put together. I'm gonna go ahead, cut this bread down into 1-inch cubes, and then we're gonna pop it into the pan. So I'm gonna start cutting, move my stuff out of the way here. Sorry, we'll be right back. You thought I was just gonna leave you there, didn't I? I moved everything off, I'm ready to go. I've just cut this down the middle, serrated knife right down the middle to 2 pieces. We've all done that because we've made sub sandwiches before. Now you have to determine, am I gonna make 1 cut or 2? I'm making 1 because as we go down from end to end, the other ends get a little narrow, and I don't want any piece that's smaller than that right there, so these will be just a little bit bigger, but then we can literally just come along and make some nice cubes. By the way, stale bread, don't go out and buy fresh bread. Find something you've got kicking around. You want it to be a baguette style. So if you've got maybe even a sourdough that's nice and crusty, some ciabatta, something like that. You know, that's what this is for, is to reuse some of that stuff. And again, I bought all these vegetables. We always have a Vidalia onion around. You know, I bought them for that other salad. So in theory, they're leftovers. Okay, I'm just gonna finish cutting this bread up, pop it in the pan, a little bit of olive oil, no salt. It's gonna toast for about 8 to 10 minutes. Bread's toasting nicely. I've got it on medium heat. I don't need it to go too fast, too hot, because I want to go ahead and get the dressing done. The reason for doing the dressing now is so that all the flavors have the opportunity to kind of meld together and create a proper dressing flavor. So we're going to start out with a 1/2 cup. Boy, this thing pours slow, huh? 1/2 cup of a good quality olive oil. Don't buy something because it's super, super cheap. You're gonna get what you pay for. Some of those big wholesale clubs actually sell better oil for less. Take advantage of it. A neat thing, champagne vinegar. Light, bright, fresh flavor. Super fun. So we've got our 1/2 cup in there. Now we're gonna add a 1/4 cup. Obviously using a glass measuring cup makes it very easy to follow along and just continue to add. We're gonna go ahead and get a nice little squirt. Ooh, that was quite a squirt, wasn't it? About a teaspoon or so of Dijon mustard. We'll get our salt and pepper. Going for about 1/2 teaspoon of that. 1/4 teaspoon of this. Okay. Another shake on the bread. Then we're gonna add some garlic. So knock that puppy down, get all the paper off. If you don't have a garbage disposal, what I'm doing right now is probably driving you crazy. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Get all that little wrapper off, and then just start to mince it. So garlic's a strong flavor. You could sub a shallot if you would like. Shallot will add a little bit of oniony character. We're already putting some onion in the salad. So that would be a nice, easy companion versus garlic. You want this to be a pretty fine mince because anybody that's eating it doesn't want to have garlic breath at the picnic. Just gonna say. Sharp knife does all the work. Okay. Put that together. Pretty simple, right? What do you think? Yeah, I'd say so. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, grab a little whisk, stir this together, taste it, see what I think. If I make any adjustments, I promise I won't leave you hanging, but I wanna make sure I check on my bread. So we're gonna come right back in just a second, and then we're gonna start pulling this all together. Okay, so I've got a nice light golden toast on my bread, so I'm just gonna leave it over there in the pan. It may brown just slightly more, but not a lot. So if you remember, we cut the bread in approximately 1-inch cubes. So anything that we can keep in that same size will be great, except for the onion. You put a 1-inch cube of onion in your mouth and tell me what you think. Yeah, right. So with the onion, cut in half, leave the furry side on, go almost all the way through. So what we're gonna do is more like a 1-inch slice, but it's just gonna be super, super thin. You can use red onion, you could use shallots again, as we were discussing. You've got lots of options out there. But let's just make sure whichever one you choose isn't gonna blow people up. It is a party. You want them to talk to each other. Okay. When you get to about as far as you think you can go, lay it down. Let me move these back so you can see. Lay it down. You've still got your cuts there, and then just keep going. Why would we want to waste any of that? Then when you get to this side, same thing. Onions are super easy to cut. We just make it out to be something because they make you cry. So guess what? Do it fast. Okay. So the other thing we have is these beautiful little peppers. We want them in approximately 1-inch squares. So guess what? Bink, we're done. Little bigger ones might be 3 cuts. Easy, right? Cucumber. This is the English style cucumber. They call it burpless. Cut the end off. Cut it down the middle. One more time. Cubes. Done. Tomatoes, same thing. With the tomato, however, what I would say after you wash it, cut it into thirds. Okay? Then you've got a little bit more to work with. Don't go in there and core this out. We can take that out from the piece itself. But try to give yourself a nice, thick tomato to work with. Tomato's beautiful. And then just cut the top of it off to get that off. Easy. The last thing we're gonna do is put in the basil and the capers and the dressing, which, gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish cutting up all the vegetables, get them ready to go in the bowl. I promise I won't skip anything that you need to see. And then we're gonna put this salad together because this one is super easy. Okay, so if you look, tomatoes, onions, cucumbers, peppers. I've started to chiffonade the basil. We've covered this in the past, but what you do is take your basil leaves, all similar size, just kind of roll them up tight like a cigar. Grab your knife, just start at the top. You're cutting it into ribbons. Make sure you cut all the way through. I kind of do this little pull away thing at the end because I want to make sure that the ribbons don't stick together. Maybe you didn't get to the bottom. If you have to sharpen your knife, go ahead. But basil is a gorgeous flavor. Got plant growing right here. We want you to be able to get this flavor into every part of your salad. So let's make sure we do that. So I've got my bowl. I've got my bread. Now if you look, the bread is pretty equal to the tomatoes. So as far as quantities go, the bread is just sort of the base. The vegetables, oh, those are crunchy. The vegetables are really the part that makes a panzanella salad good, right? And get things that you can get. If you wanted to put zucchini or squash in here, you could. If you wanted to use green onions, absolutely. If you want to put some mushrooms in here, why not, right? It's your salad, do what you want. But again, it's a great salad for parties because it really has that fun Italian flavor that people just look for. And most people don't make salads that taste like that. They taste like mayonnaise. So let's give them something that they'll really, really like. Now I do leave the juice of the tomatoes in here because I don't want that dried up tomato taste, I guess is what you say. There's a lot of recipes that call for you taking the juice out of the tomatoes. This is not one of those. This needs to have that tomato flavor like a bruschetta, like a nice fresh sauce, things of that nature. So we get our salty fix from 3 tablespoons of capers. And let me tell you, I have a jar this big because they're awesome. Again, wholesale stores, that's like $6 for that jar. You buy a little jar at your grocer, you're probably paying $5 for a tenth of what you get. To give this a good solid mix, start pouring it over. What were we talking about overdressing earlier? Yeah, we're gonna stop right there. Let's just make sure we have enough, and I can add as needed. The bread's gonna soak up some of the juice from the tomatoes. It's gonna soak up plenty of the dressing. The dressing has a little bit of a Dijon taste to it. You can absolutely get that champagne vinegar flavor out of it, which is gorgeous. The garlic didn't bite, which is even better. And I feel like I'm coated really, really well. So what I would do if this were my picnic is I would reserve that little bit, I might even make a double batch, and just bring it for people to add some to their own dish. Kind of like we talked about with the other salad. And then what you have here, pardon all the stuff in my hand, is a gorgeous, bright, vibrant, literally red, white, and green salad. How cool is that? Take a quick picture of it, clean up, and we got one more for you. Did that not look awesome? Panzanella salad stands out among all the other salads. Forget the mayonnaise stuff. But if you wanted to make it better with feta, you can certainly do that too. I'm not, because we have feta and some other things, so you're good there. The last one that I wanted to touch on is kind of fun. It's Tabouli salad. So it's basically bulgur wheat that is kind of steamed, if you will, by putting hot water on it and just allowing it to soak it up. You're not boiling it or cooking it, you're just adding the hot water to it. Tons of fresh herbs, and this is where it really stands out, because again, that's not a lot of bulgur wheat, it's 1 cup. And it's gonna make an entire salad. So everything else that goes in there is really the salad component that makes it extra special. So I've got flat leaf parsley, got a handful of mint, grow this all over the house. We grow basil, we grow thyme. Like, you need to grow your own herbs because it's super fun. Gonna hit a couple scallions. We're gonna zest and juice a lemon, cucumber, tomato, who knows, we may throw other stuff in there. But right now I've got that water just about done on the stove. So, if you don't wanna heat up water on the stove, you can do it in the microwave. However, you'll never know if water is hot in the microwave, except for a little steam, because the microwave can't boil. So this requires 3 teaspoons of salt. Put the salt in the water while you're heating it in the microwave. Anything in the water will then create the boiling effect. So think about that. If you need to heat up water in the microwave, put something in it, salt, pepper, whatever you're gonna do, so that this way you pull it forward. All right, and then it's gonna boil in whatever container. Make sure, obviously, it can handle the heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up really good. I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator. It's gotta cool for about 30 minutes, so we got a little bit of time. Gives us plenty of time to put all this other stuff together in a bowl and then marry the two together. So I'm gonna hit pause, put that away, come right back. Okay, bulgur wheat's cooling in the fridge. It'll be ready for us when we need it, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and get the herbs and scallions into the bowl first. So I've got my mint right here, which is just a good handful. I've got about a cup worth of flat leaf parsley here. It's also called Italian parsley. Kitchen scissors, super easy. Just come up, nip it off, there you go. Leave some of the stalks in there. As you get down to the bottom of this, just like you would do with these pieces over here, you can add that to a stock while you're cooking it, just to add some more flavor. The thing with this one is you just kind of pull it together, and then we're gonna rough cut it. And as we get over here, we're just gonna pull the mint in and do the same thing. So I'm gonna run through this twice. I don't want huge pieces in there, but I don't want it to be basically pulverized and turned into little bits. I want the herbs to shine. I want them to be very aromatic throughout. Look for any big pieces. Everything in here is nice. It's about a ½ inch. Great. Scallion. Everybody talks about the whites and the greens. This one gets them both, so don't even worry about it. Just cut your ends off and run through it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these ready. When you're on the whites, you wanna cut them in thin little discs. When you get to the greens, you wanna make them a little bit more like your parsley size. So you're gonna probably triple that thickness, get them to about a ⁄4 inch. I'll get these knocked out here. We'll come back and cut some vegetables. Okay, so moving on, now that those are done, I'm gonna go ahead and do the veggies. Still got a tomato left from earlier, perfect. It's about the right amount. You want about a cup of tomato in here. If you do have the little cherry tomatoes, you get to make the decision. Do I wanna leave them in halves? Do I wanna quarter them? What do I wanna do? We're trying to keep everything fairly uniform in size. So we're gonna mince, if you will. I would call it a, like a small dice to try and stay in this same kind of shape and size. So I've cut the end off. I'm gonna go ahead, come down the side and cut planks. I'm sure you've heard this before. First you cut planks, then you cut slices, and then you make dices. So you take these out, lay them down, come down this way. So you've got that. And then when you come back through it, you've got yourself a nice dice. Keep your fingers back. Ah, it's moving. What do you do? Push it back, that's what you do. Okay, tuck it together, then come back, keep your fingers behind the knife, and there we go. Anything moves out, cut it off, or push it back. Except your fingers. Always push them back. Ha. All right, so tomatoes next. So in this case, again, we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna do these nice slices. We'll find the core when we get to it. It's gonna be that piece right there. There it is. And just pop it in. So I'll leave it to you to decide if you want to leave the juice from the tomato in or not. I personally will in this case because Tabouli is a bulgur wheat. Bulgur wheat does absorb a lot of liquid. So theoretically, This will help the wheat not soak up as much of the dressing, which allows it to dress. That's kind of the goal there. So just cutting these up again into, I'll put them on the knife so you can see a little bit, just into little cubes. There we go. So same sizes, everybody's playing nicely with each other. I'll get these into the bowl here in just a minute, and then we're gonna go ahead and make that dressing. Okay, veggies are done. I'm gonna go ahead and move the scissors, get all this in the bowl. Come here. I'm gonna pull my lemon up here because we need lemon juice for the dressing. And what do we do with a lemon before we take the juice from it? We zest it, that's right. Love that this board has an edge on it. Helps me not make as big of a mess as you think I would. So, before we take any of the juice out of there, we want to go ahead and zest the lemon into this bowl. Why am I not putting it into the dressing? Because the dressing is about to go in here, and honestly, with all that goodness, it's just a lot easier to put it in the bowl. Let's just be honest. So a lot of Mediterranean, a lot of Middle Eastern flavors have bright citrus. It's great for health conscious. It's great for everything. Shoot, you won't have scurvy if you get this much lemon. But what we're really just trying to do is use the flavors of spring, bright, colorful, delicious. Some recipes for Tabouli salad call for a lot more lemon juice than I'm gonna use. The reason being is because we have all this beautiful zest. Yeah, you don't need as much juice. It's a little bit less acidic that way, which is also kind of nice. Something very important, you still want to be able to see a little yellow on your lemon. You don't want to go into that white pulp part. That's where all the badness happens. Makes things bitter. Pretty low-tech stuff here, right? Squeeze well. I use this to catch the seeds. I'm sure you've seen me do that before. Always catch your seeds. They're a pain in the butt to chase out of here, kind of like eggshells. Just don't want to do it. All right, so now if you think about it, the parsley is going to add a nice herb note to it. The mint's going to add a nice herb note to it. The zest is going to add a nice herb note to it. The last thing we're going to do is put some black pepper in just to make it pop. As you can see, when your hands get wet with lemon juice, it likes to slip. So coarse grind, freshly ground. Don't use that powdery stuff from a can. We can't be friends. Get maybe about a half a teaspoon or so going. We can always adjust up. Okay, quick stir. Okay, and in we go. So the longer the Tabouli salad sits in its juice, in its dressing, with the vegetables, with everything, the bulgur wheat, everything together, the better it's gonna taste. So by putting the dressing in here first, it's gonna wilt the herbs a little bit, which is okay, that's expected. It's going to take some of the water out of the tomatoes because the acid from the lemon is gonna start to extract that. But then they're all gonna start to play together. And then when this gets mixed into the wheat, you've just jump-started the flavors. If you put it all together at one time, you'd probably have to throw it back in the fridge for an hour for it to even taste like anything. So we're gonna go ahead and put this deliciousness in the refrigerator, waiting on the bulgur wheat, and then marry the two together, put it in a bowl, and by the way, if you wanna make it better with feta, you see where I'm going. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, if you're getting impatient with your bulgur wheat, please know that the water has to get in there. You cannot make it go faster. But if you grab yourself a little spatula, just kind of work your way around the bowl, you can see how much liquid is really hanging around down there. And when there's nearly zero, you know you're there. But check it out. So we took 1 cup of bulgur wheat, which really was nothing in the bottom of this bowl, added 1.5 cups of boiling water, and this is what it swells up into. It's awesome. So I've got the bulgur wheat ready to go. I've got my herb mix ready to go. It's just time to marry. Your wheat may be a tiny bit warm. That's okay, like lukewarm. You don't want anything hot because then you're gonna cook your herbs. The bulgur wheat will be a little bit salty because we did use 3 teaspoons of salt. That's not anything to sneeze at. Pepper you might sneeze at, but not salt. So now we're just gonna do kind of like that. We're just gonna fold it all in. I don't wanna bruise up the parsley or any of the herbs. You wanna make sure there are more veggies and herbs than there was bulgur wheat, which I had. So if you needed to add more veggies or do anything to try and improve it, you just add more veggies. It's that easy. Everything in there is dressed. So now, I'm just gonna taste. Oh my gosh. This one is just always right. It just is. It's bright, it's citrusy, it's a little salty. You get that pepper, you get the herbs. I look forward to tasting this one, I honestly do, because there's never an adjustment in mine. I just always go right with it and it works perfectly. But by golly, that's good. Look how pretty that is. So go ahead, get a picture of this. I'll refresh the others so you can see all of them and make your decision up. Here's the thing. Somebody sends you a text message, says, hey, we're at the pool, come on down, bring a salad. Man, I don't care what you bring. Just avoid all that mayonnaise stuff. A, it's not good outside in the heat. And B, it's really not good for you. Let's use all the beauty of the vegetables, springtime, summertime. Make that Dijon champagne vinegar dressing. Go buy some arugula, get some tomatoes, put a little salad together. If you make a homemade dressing and bring it and make something kind of cool, people won't care that it's not pasta salad. They're just happy to have you there. And hey, you brought an arugula salad that's nice and peppery. How cool is that? Or tabouli, or panzanella, anything. Just bring something cool, but make it yourself. Make it homemade easy. That's why you follow me, the Bearded Home Cook. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tag us if you make any of these. Go, hey man, this came out awesome, or dude, you're an idiot. I don't care. Just say, hey, this is what we got. But remember, summer salads don't have to be based in potatoes and pasta and fat. You can make wonderful, delicious, fragrant, unbelievable salads and sides with a lot of Mediterranean twist. And hey, you can put some feta on here because it's better with feta. But just try it. Give it a shot. Have some fun. Enjoy all the grilling. Do all the fun stuff. And have a wonderful summer. This has been a blast. Thanks a lot. It's your turn. Are you ready?